There's not going to be any breathing. We're in a sprint, right? Coach Paterno used to always tell us to run scared, and we're going to sprint. Like, you know, we're not taking a break. Well, I'm here right now. I'll be here all week, and from here on out, we're working on 2024s. We're working on 2025s, but most importantly, to your point, working on this team and getting ourselves ready to be in a good place for spring ball. Great teams are built on two things: relationships and standards. And so we have a standard. The standard is to work really, really hard. I do like the fact that, you know, we're still old school, where a lot of teams are flying in somewhere and they'll go see 3 or 4 schools in that area. We're going to go try to affect high schools. We're going to go see 8, 9, 10 high schools. Marcus Satterfield was in Denver working on 2024s in Colorado, and as he was kind of driving by a school and it wasn't on his list, so he called the coach, said, "Hey, can I come in?" And as he's talking to the coach says, "Hey, listen, I got this kid that's under the radar that you know, no one really knows about, and I think some people are recruiting him, but I think we're missing out on him." And you know, he signed today. DeAndre signed today, and you know, he hits all the metrics that we look for. He's 10'6". He's smart. He's big, and so to me, the reason why you go out and see as many schools as you do is so that when people do have a transfer, when they do have an under the radar guy, they pick up the phone and call the University of Nebraska because they know that they have relationships with the coaches. We should recruit well. We will always probably appeal to a certain mindset. It has to be someone who really likes football, has to be someone who also wants to go to school, has to be someone that wants to be developed on and off the field. It has to be someone who likes to work. But the brand itself, the fan base, the town, the city of Lincoln, and the facilities, I mean, I think a lot of those things are unparalleled. They're unmatched. And so, yeah, we should absolutely recruit well every year. As you're out there in the world and people say, "Oh, Nebraska, you know, you can find big, strong guys. Can you find speed?" Like, just in state, you're not going to find anybody faster than Malachi and Jalen. You know, I mean, the speed's there. You know, Bryce Turner's as fast a kid as there is in the country. So I like that part of it. But I like each player for who they are. I like the, you know, I first got here, I think the previous staff did a really good job with the big guys, the O-linemen. And then you guys kind of know I'm going to kind of be numbers based, you know, like when I don't know. I do know that track times and triple jumps and 40-yard dashes, that doesn't mean you're a great football player. But when I'm not sure, those things guide you, right? They're just a rock that you can kind of lean on. And so when I see a kid who's a 47-foot triple jumper and, you know, likes football, I'm going to take a chance on him. And so if they have the right mental. And so I like some of those things that we were able to bring in. You know, had a lot of success over the years bringing guys in who are fast and finding the right position. And so for us to increase our team speed, I'm not saying the previous team was slow, but just to bring in that level of speed to me is really important. And then we brought in some size, and you know, O-linemen, you have to grow them. You know, it takes a little time with them. They have to get in the weight room. But I like the group that we brought in. We divided our team up into competition teams the very first Sunday. Not O-line, D-line, but, you know, just everybody getting to know everybody, because we don't want them to see each other in terms of offense, defense, freshman, senior, walk-on scholarship. They're all people, and all people have dreams, and all people have fears, and just get to know each other. So I think when you have that kind of holistic approach, when you have the same standards for everybody, like the best players in our program don't get the perks. The guys who work the hardest to get if there's any perks, they get them. And then, you know, just try to be around, right? Like as coaches, like the more we're around the guys, the more we get to know each other. You know, there's no more, the guys aren't taking their food in the cafeteria and leaving anymore. We sit down, we eat. Coaches, they go in, they sit down with the players. We're gonna build, you know, we're gonna build something where we all know each other. You know, most places you go, guys are kind of always in a rush. They're always on their phone. They're always, you know, so we just kind of come up with some standards that, you know, what do they have to do with winning? Nothing. But everything. You know, it's like, you know, if you're willing to sacrifice a little of yourself for the team every day, you have a chance to have a good team. I think right now the number's at 14 former players of mine in some role within the organization, whether it's weight room, recruiting, and that's Western Carolina, that's Temple as an assistant, Temple as the head coach, Baylor, and then a couple of Carolina Panthers. So having guys that can explain when the players are like, "What's wrong with Coach Rhule? This is what's wrong with him. This is what he really means." It's really vital. I try to listen to the coaches' press conferences. A, so sometimes we make fun of them for something they said, or B, you know, So, but Ed, who no one's ever loved the press conference more than Ed. Let me just say that, okay? But Ed, I thought when he talked about family the other day and about being at Adam's wedding and about the funeral, a former player and former assistant that passed away for us, I actually screenshotted that and I sent it out to the whole staff. Because there's so many of us that have been together for such a long time and some of us, like Philip, I saw Philip 10 years ago. I haven't seen him in 10 years, right? But there's these connections, and I also hired a defensive coordinator I never worked with. It's not like I'm just hiring people I know. Like, I want everyone in our organization, on our staff, to understand that family is, for us, family is, it's not blood. It's the decisions we make every day to protect each other and to push each other and to advocate for each other. And so it could be little things. It's Terrence Knighton's son, Jameer, has his first 8th grade basketball game, and I show up to cheer him on, right? Because, I want him to know, hey, Jameer, thank you for moving across the country. The impact of this is an unbelievable opportunity, but the sacrifice of our spouses and the sacrifice of our kids is, my kids just moved 3 years ago, and now they got to turn around and move again. And even though they're coming to a wonderful place, it's still hard on kids. So when my coaches see my kids and they hug them like they're their own, A, I think that has a great impact on our players, but B, we become like family. And so I really mean it when I say that I want our players to say their lives are better for having been there, but I also want all the coaches who coach for me to say the same thing. You know what, working for Coach Rhule was working for Matt was a great time in my life, and my life is better for that. And that includes their families too. So we work really hard. We're really honest with each other. It's not easy. It's not easy. The camera's killing me. Sorry. It's not easy to work here. The standards are high. You guys have done a really nice job making a big deal about Ed going around. And I think Ed's doing what we've always done. Going to 8 schools a day in the state of Nebraska is the bare minimum. We're not doing something special. We're not like, oh, wow, look how hard they work. We're just doing our jobs. We're showing up and doing our jobs. Stopping at a high school and them having a cup of coffee and the special education, special needs students are giving away coffee and taking a picture with them, that's called being hardworking. And the people of Nebraska work way harder than us. That I know. I've been to some small towns. I've been to the cities now. I've seen people in the state. You guys work hard. So we're not going to celebrate ourselves for working hard. We're going to celebrate ourselves for having a purpose where we're trying to help young people have better lives. That's really what's important. The working hard is because we want to win too. Well, Nebraska athletics is just getting around the student athletes, right? So I'm sitting in the lunchroom the other day, and Omar's talking to a couple of the young ladies on the women's tennis team, and I'm talking to them, and a couple of football players are sitting with us, and I believe her name's Sam. She's a senior from Miami. She's like, we're playing today at 4. Are you guys coming? Yep. So we went and watched them. Now, first of all, I love college tennis. It's one of the great things. I mean, it's one of the great sports to go watch because there's a lot of action going on. But I think there was 27 football players there. There's the coaches are there. Trev is there. And we're supporting. You know what I mean? It's way easier to play when you got coaches screaming let's go FISA. Let's play better. So we just we're not going to take ourselves too seriously. We're not celebrities. We're coaches, right? We coach a game, just a game, all right? And so. We're going to be there to support the other student athletes. We're going to be there to support the students on campus. Any way that we can help within the community, we're going to do it. Not because it's our job, but because that's what good people do. And there's a lot of other good people that just Twitter doesn't recognize them, that do way more than we do. If quarterbacks are going to have voluntary throwing on their own, and they show up 5 minutes early and they're prepared, and then that will have an impact on everybody else. What we don't need is a bunch of guys we don't need every highlight video with people talking, right? We just need people doing. And so the quarterbacks, to me, they can just be serious about themselves, academically, athletically, and in the community. They can be the same guy when the coaches aren't around as when the coaches are around. And that sends a real message to the team. And then, when they know everybody's name on the team and they know the people that work in the cafeteria's names, and then they become someone that people want to follow. Xavier, I didn't know who Xavier was. And so I I just met with him. I love Xavier Betts. And I don't love Xavier Betts because of who he is on the football field, because that's what's wrong when people think you only love him. I love who he is as a person. I like getting to know him. I like that, I appreciate, he texted me happy birthday yesterday. Okay, that means something to me. So I like who he is as a guy. I'm rooting for him. I'm anxious to see him kind of get back on the football field and do well in the classroom. So I'm anxious to not just give him a chance, but to be an advocate for him. My son's 18. He's trying to figure out what he wants to do for the rest of his life. I want him to go places where he has people who, they don't entitle him, they don't enable him, but they advocate for him. So we'll do that for Xavier. And then, Isaiah, he just reached out, and I was like, let's give him a chance. Like, give everybody a chance, and then go through the spring, and then people are going to see the standards and how we do things, and they'll either decide that they want to do it or not. But they hadn't gone on the portal on me, so it really didn't affect me.